Regrettably, there have been numerous occasions where criminals have exhibited abhorrent behavior in the courtroom. Smooth court sessions devoid of disruptions are a rarity. In some instances, the accused individuals instigate chaos within the courtroom, defying the threat of being charged with contempt of court. From spitting and hurling bodily fluids to making inappropriate gestures and comments, these are the moments that have left us feeling repulsed and unsettled. We start with the case of Christopher Coleman.
$125,000.
During a pretrial release hearing, it's highly unusual to witness the level of confrontation and explicit language displayed by Christopher Coleman, a South Florida resident facing charges of violating restraining orders and aggravated battery against his girlfriend. Appearing via video before Judge John J. Hurley, Christopher's demeanor quickly turned confrontational.
I think I remember you from before coming into this courtroom.
Yes, sir. I'm out on.
I remember.
Particularly when he recognized the judge from a previous hearing where he was granted bond on an aggravated battery charge. However, this time, Judge Hurley seemed less inclined to grant him another bond.
But that won't be necessary today because you're
Well,
not
I'll
going
see you guys.
anywhere.
Well, I'll see you guys in with a lawyer and a lawsuit too.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait. Bring him back, please.
And you can go fuck yourself too.
Despite the judge's apprehension, Christopher remained undeterred. Judge Hurley eventually set his bond at $250,000, but revoked it immediately when Christopher casually dismissed the amount as inconsequential. Consequently, Christopher received a 364-day jail sentence for contempt of court. However, it seems Christopher had a change of heart. A week later, he expressed remorse for his behavior and apologized for his inappropriate language. Judge Hurley, acknowledging the apology, reduced Christopher's jail term to time served. Nevertheless, no bond was approved for the aggravated battery case, and Christopher ended up spending 14 months behind bars before his release. Next, we have Adam Satterley. Adam Satterley made headlines in 2016 after directing a racial slur at a black judge overseeing his case. At 36 years old, Adam found himself in Jefferson Circuit Court in Louisville for a bond hearing related to drug charges. Judge Olu Stevens decided to revoke Adam's bond on multiple methamphetamine charges, which meant Adam would be returning to jail. As Adam exited the courtroom, he shouted a racial slur at the judge. Judge Olu, understandably displeased, called Adam back into the courtroom.
Is there something that you wish to say to me?
No, it's my brother.
Oh, was that to your brother? Because I heard you say a racial epithet.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
Oh, you didn't mean it like
No.
that? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold you in contempt of court for having said that. And you don't speak those words in here. And that word particularly, you don't use that word. I'm going to give you 60 days for having used that word.
And promptly sentenced him to 60 days in jail for contempt of court. However, the following day, the judge offered Adam a chance to reduce his sentence to just 1 day if he issued an apology. Adam seized the opportunity and apologized, claiming that the racial slur was intended for his brother. Despite his explanation, the judge found it disrespectful to use such language in court, but accepted the apology nonetheless. Consequently, the judge reduced Adam's sentence from 60 days to just 1 day.
Did you just give me 40 years, sir? Yes. You just gave me 40 years. Well, guess what? Sir, don't say something.
Ricky Hand, a notorious career criminal from Springfield, Ohio, was facing charges in court for attempting to rob a drive-through store. Despite his extensive criminal history, including multiple armed robberies totaling more than 29, Ricky found himself in even deeper trouble. During the attempted robbery, the store owner, alerted by security cameras,
911 emergency.
Yeah, this is John's drive-through, West Main Street. A guy just tried to rob me and I shot him. He ran out the back door.
shot Ricky 3 times before contacting 911. Identified and apprehended thanks to a tip from a local hospital, Ricky was found to be responsible for numerous other robberies in the area. Facing nearly 40 charges, including breaking and entering, aggravated robbery, safe cracking, abduction, and attempted safe cracking, Ricky hoped for a lighter sentence by pleading guilty to 7 charges. His maximum potential jail time was 52 years. Ricky apologized for his crimes, attributing them to his struggle with drug addiction. However, when the judge sentenced him to 40 years in prison, Ricky's contrite demeanor evaporated. In a shocking display of defiance, Ricky reached into his arm sling, where he had concealed bottles of his feces and urine. He hurled these bottles at his attorney and 4 deputies before attempting to throw one at the judge and others in the courtroom. This vile act of defiance led to Ricky facing additional charges, including harassment with a bodily substance, obstructing justice, and retaliation. Already on parole for previous offenses, Ricky's despicable behavior only compounded his legal troubles. Meet Melissa Hardwick. Melissa Hardwick found herself in trouble during a hearing at the Russell and Wayne Counties Family Court in Kentucky, where her ex-husband had filed for a domestic violence order against her. As her ex-husband testified about her past mental health issues and arrests,
on it from any contact with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
I've taken your statements in your petition as part of your testimony, but I need you to tell me briefly, in your own words, what happened to cause you to ask for a domestic violence order.
Melissa interrupted, declaring that her personal life was no one's business.
Till that point, she got out of jail in April, and she
My
started.
personal life is
No.
your business, John. It has nothing to do with
Miss
you or
Hardwick?
boys. No.
You will be held in contempt of this court if you become
I don't
disruptive.
care. I haven't done anything to this court.
Judge Jennifer Edwards warned her about further interruptions, but Melissa persisted, leading to the judge ordering her arrest for contempt of court. As the sentence was pronounced, Melissa charged at the judge in a violent outburst, but court security officers intervened. Melissa was sentenced to 120 days in jail for contempt of court, with additional charges of third-degree terroristic threatening, intimidating a participant in the legal process, and resisting arrest. The restraining order her ex-husband requested was also granted, highlighting the consequences of her disruptive behavior in court. Finally, we have Alan Miller McCarty. Alan Miller McCarty's trial in a Daytona Beach, Florida court began with a troubling incident. McCarty made an anonymous, expletive-laden call to the county sheriff's office, threatening to shoot Circuit Judge Stacia Warren.
What a bunch of you stupid piece of You threatened my life, you
In the
you
back room.
suck my No, I'm not standing. Stop resisting. I'm not resisting. I'm just not standing up. I'm not standing. I don't have to stand.
He claimed to report a crime in progress and stated he was waiting for the judge with a gun outside the building. Police swiftly launched an investigation, leading to McCarty's arrest and charges of making death threats against a public servant. McCarty's criminal history, which included 3 felonies and a misdemeanor in Florida, compounded the seriousness of the situation. The threatening call stemmed from a previous case where Judge Warren granted custody of their children to McCarty's ex-wife and issued a no-contact order due to his history of abuse and domestic violence. Charged with corruption by threat against a public official and threat or extortion, McCarty displayed aggressive behavior throughout the trial, directing his anger and profanity towards the judge, jury, and the entire judicial system.
This is being done unconstitutionally. Y'all took my kids unrightfully. You won't allow my witnesses here. You won't allow my paperwork. Y'all took all my court paperwork. And when they all come in here, I'm going to say the same thing. So let's bring them in. Quit wasting my time and bring them in so I can tell them the same thing.
McCarty's behavior during the trial escalated to disturbing levels. He screamed about not being allowed to present evidence, criticized his attorney, and accused the court of unfairly separating him from his children. In a shocking turn, McCarty directed inappropriate remarks toward Circuit Judge Matt Foxman, inviting him to perform a sexual act. Despite the judge's composed response, McCarty continued with his expletive-laden tirade, prompting the judge to threaten to silence him. Ultimately, McCarty was removed from the courtroom and placed in a separate area, but his disruptive behavior persisted. He continued to berate the judge, accusing him of violating his rights and even threatening legal action. As a result of his contemptuous conduct, McCarty received a 20-year sentence in Florida State Prison, with an additional 10-day sentence for his profane outbursts. Throughout the ordeal, the judge and jury maintained their professionalism despite McCarty's abusive behavior. Which of these courtroom incidents do you find the most unsettling? Courtrooms are intended to be environments where legal disputes are resolved impartially and where individuals receive the necessary legal protection and representation. Imagine being present during the moment when a defendant is informed they will be spending the rest of their life incarcerated. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section and subscribe to Courtroom Chaos for more content.